Once upon a time, there was a vast desert, far from civilization and the everyday world. And every summer, thousands of wandering souls would travel to this desert to build a magical city. A city filled with wondrous experiences, unusual people, and above all, whimsical art. There was big art, small art, simple art, and fantastically complicated art. Some breathed fire, some was designed to move, and much of it glowed at night. And in the center of it all, each year a giant effigy was built, a faceless man, impassively towering over the festivities. The pilgrims to this city spent all year creating these works of art, and for 1 week each summer, they gathered in this magical desert city to gaze upon the wonders of their creation, and to play and dance and marvel at the beauty of it all before burning it to the ground. The revelers packed up their shelters, toys, and costumes, and each fall the desert was restored to its natural state of vast, silent emptiness. And to this magical city each summer traveled a wandering hussy. Year after year she made her pilgrimage to this celebration of wonders, and as one decade rolled into the next, she continued her quest, ever seeking answers, ever seeking enlightenment. But as the years passed, the nature of the gathering evolved, or perhaps one might say devolved, and the wondering hussy found herself growing, shall we say, disillusioned. It all seemed like it was getting so commercial. Ticket prices were through the roof, traffic was insane, and every year there seemed to be more and more bucket listers, influencers, and normies, all wearing the same Amazon Prime cheap Chinese light-up crap. And so it came to pass that every year the wandering hussy complained more and more, until finally, on her 13th pilgrimage, the gods rewarded her bitching with the most unexpectedly different Burning Man of all. Hello, Wonderhussy here at Burning Man 2023. You can see it's kind of a nasty, windy, dusty day out here on the Deep Playa, where I rode my bike out to check out some artwork. And probably I should have just stayed in my trailer because I have a nasty case of what they call playa lung. Okay, I think it's actually probably valley fever, maybe even the early stages of mesothelioma, because this fine white alkaline dust gets churned up everywhere, and it's so insidious that it gets through pretty much every crack and way into your lungs and sinus cavities, which unfortunately is what happened to me. So yeah, these really aren't very good conditions to be riding your bike around in, but I'm trying to keep my nose covered with strips of fabric. Matter of fact, I even brought with me, here's a blast from the past, my old COVID mask. Who'd ever thought this thing would come in handy again? Ah, this is horrible. I want my money back. Maybe I can take shelter behind this bank of porta potties. Oh wait, it's not actually porta potties. It's a troll, a good old-fashioned art troll, which personally is my favorite kind of art. I guess they built this so that when you're out here at night riding your bike around and you really gotta pee, and they don't want you to just pee on the playa. And then you see the porta potties in the distance, and you head over there, and then you find out they're fake. I love it. Well, there's actually another bank of Portos right over there anyway. But since these ones don't actually stink, I'll take shelter behind them. Yeah, I know. I should probably go back to my trailer where it's more dust-free. But I don't know. I spent $1,000 to come up here. You know, by the time you pay for your ticket, which is $575, plus a mysterious $4 fee, and a mailing fee, and a credit card processing fee, and a Nevada State Live Entertainment tax, and blah, blah, blah. You gotta pay $150 for a car pass. Next thing you know, $1,000. And all so you can huddle behind a wall of fake porta potties, peering at the event through the cracks. How about that? Man, it's so windy. I'm even losing my third eye. Oh my God, you know you're in trouble when your third eye starts to blow away. Better just stick it in my bag so that I don't accidentally litter on the playa. And it's probably better not to be wearing that anyway, because everyone's so culturally sensitive nowadays. You know, for people who really do believe in third eyes, somebody might get offended. You know, it reminds me, oh gosh, about 7 years ago, somebody gave me a really cool gift up here. It was a Muslim veil, a niqab. It's like a black veil that strict Orthodox Muslim women wear, which is like a slit for your eyes. Well, that was the best thing to wear up here because it blocked out the sun, it blocked out the dust. You didn't have to wear makeup. You didn't have to smile if you didn't feel like it. I loved wearing that thing. Well, unfortunately, I posted a picture of myself in it on Facebook and got death threats a few years ago. So let's just say the cultural sensibilities, or maybe sensitivities up here, have changed quite a bit since I started coming 13 years ago. That's right, 13 years I've been coming to this dusty mess. And I think that might be part of my problem. I think I might be disillusioned. But playa long aside, I really was feeling pretty disillusioned with the whole event. I didn't start going till 2009, so it's not like I'm one of the original burners. But even in the space of 15 years, it seemed to me the balance had shifted to where an event that had once been 90% weirdos was now overwhelmingly populated with tourists and normies. As I rode around the playa at the beginning of the week, before getting sick, I struggled with the feeling that Burning Man was over for me, that the event was going in a direction that I didn't care for, and there wasn't really anything here for me anymore. Sure, I enjoyed looking at the art and dancing and seeing my friends, but it just sort of felt like the same old, same old. But as I lay in my trailer, recovering from playa long or valley fever or whatever it was, Mother Nature stepped in, delivering a surprise that ended up reinstilling my faith in this batshit freak show. Rain! Oh my God. What a f***ing disaster. Beginning Friday afternoon, the overcast skies opened up and delivered 2 or 3 months worth of rain in a 24-hour window. That much water falling on a desert that normally sees very little precipitation made for a real mess. All that fine white alkaline dust I'd been breathing in had now turned to thick, gooey, clay-like mud, basically forcing the entire event to grind to a halt. But this is where my faith in Burning Man was reinstilled. Rather than let the rainy conditions get them down, most of the festival goers took a page out of the Woodstock handbook, or maybe the Navy SEALs handbook, and embraced the suck. What is it?
It's Polynesian sculpture.
Oh, wow.
It's from Tiki.
And this is actually playa mud.
Yeah, this is just mud. They are nothing, just mud.
Amazing! Are you enjoying Soggy Man?
Oh, yeah.
Woodstock! Woo! Don't take the brown acid! Yeah, you're not going anywhere on that, are you? So here we are at Soggy Man 2023, and this woman here has a very interesting technique for keeping her feet mud-free. Those are just trash bags?
They are. They're trash bags with some hot pink duct tape.
Oh, fashionable, as well as utilitarian.
It's the only way to bring the pee bottle fresh to the parlets.
Okay. Excuse me, miss. I happen to notice that you seem pretty happy.
Oh, I'm stoked right now.
You say you're enjoying this?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, and you're wearing 2 trash bags?
Yeah, these are the trash chaps.
Those are like contractor bags. Those are, what do you call them?
Trash chaps.
Ugh. Gotta be real careful walking in this stuff because it's very slippery. And I managed to stay pretty clean. I had these old beater boots that I don't really like, so I don't mind sacrificing them to the mud. And they surely will be sacrificed. Anyway, believe it or not, there's more rain in the forecast. A lot more rain. So I thought I better take a walk to the porta potties while I can, so I can dump my tank from my little camp toilet. It's already getting full because I was in my trailer for 2 days, you know, peeing. Some people are saying, don't dump your pee jugs. Save the porta potties for poop only, because think about it, the honey wagon, the trucks can't get in here to pump them out. So, I don't know. My tank is full. I'm going to dump it. I think those trucks can get in and out. They got big tires. Well, that was thoroughly unpleasant. But at least now I got an empty tank, so I can wait out the next storm. It's supposed to rain again all night. And they're saying, well, it'll take at least 48 hours for this mud to dry out. And then, of course, everyone's going to try to leave all at once. So basically, I'm not getting out of here for at least another 5 days. I mean, on the plus side, I have plenty of drinking water and supplies to last me at least until Thursday or Friday, and I don't have to be back at work, and I don't have kids or pets waiting for me, so I guess it doesn't really matter if I'm stuck here. What about you, sir? Is it a problem for you to be stuck here?
Flight to Sydney on Wednesday.
You have a flight to Sydney. I'm sure they'll hold the plane for you. I'm with the news, and we're asking people about their footwear and what they're feeling.
It's day 5 of the mudpocalypse. We've already begun starting to eat people.
Let's keep it quiet.
Vegans are the worst source of nutrients, but they're the easiest to catch since they're weak and iron deficient.
Oh, pro tip. You heard it here first. Folks resorting to cannibalism at Burning Man 2023. You look pretty, okay. I mean, look at your shoes.
I got my fresh shoes this morning. They weren't in the puddle in the corner of the tent, and I had some bags.
Okay, and then there's some folks here that are just going barefoot.
That's the other
And the
technique.
nice thing is you don't have to worry about stepping on broken glass because it's all mook-free.
You're learning from our ancestors, I guess.
Oh, learning from our ancestors.
Yeah, they
oh,
probably dealt with this.
that's a very zen attitude to take. I love your attitude, sister.
Thank you.
This is exactly the attitude we should all have. You seem very peaceful and you seem happy.
I am happy.
And you're not fighting it, you know, you're just
Then-
going barefoot.
If you fight reality, reality always wins.
If you fight reality, reality always wins. Okay, so here's the camp that I stayed at this year. It's called the Fastest Pizza Stand, and we made and served pizza. We had 2 pizza parties, one on Monday and one on Wednesday, the before times, before the weather turned sour, and a good time was had by most. And you know what? Everybody's still having fun in a really weird way. There's a lot of smiles out here. Just because it's rainy and muddy doesn't mean I can't look as good as possible. Might as well put on some makeup and go out there and shoot what's going on. I'm really curious to go farther out onto the playa and see what people are up to. I mean, I'll be honest, I think this is kind of fun. I was actually having kind of a blah Burning Man until this weather started. Now, I'm excited. I mean, I'm lucky. I have plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of supplies. I have a 200-watt solar panel, so I can power this Starlink. I can sit in here and edit my video till the cows come home. If I have to stay here till Thursday or Friday, that's okay with me. I thrive under adversity. Okay, let's go outside and see what's going on down the street. We actually have an excellent view of the man right at the end of the street. That's the effigy that they were supposed to burn tonight. Pretty sure that's not happening anymore. Looks like some of these camps have given up and are going ahead and tearing down early, which is wild because Saturday night is like normally the biggest night out here. Everybody goes and watches the man and then they come back to camp and they party. Whew. Okay, here we are at the Esplanade. That's the front street where all the biggest, fanciest camps are. But nothing's looking very fancy right now. Look at all these sad, soggy art pieces and these abandoned bikes. I mean, yeah, it's impossible to ride a bike in this mud, so a lot of people just dropped them, I guess, where they were. And it's an interesting thought, how many of those people are actually gonna go back and get their bikes when this all dries out? I have a feeling there's going to be an epic mess left behind at this Burning Man. And I should note, I came out here last October, about a month after Burning Man, just to see how well they cleaned up. And they do a very thorough cleanup job. I mean, they didn't leave anything behind. This year, they're gonna have their work cut out for them. And then over here's my beautiful friend Jill. You guys remember Jill. Jill shot my calendar a couple years ago. Jill, are you having a good time here?
Oh my God, this is fantastic. I got caught on the other side of the city last night in the rainstorm. Played massage. They had like a kissing orgy thing after our...
Kissing orgy?
Yeah, I didn't participate, unfortunately.
Oh, who's your friend?
Well, this is Delfina.
Ah, here we go! Oh.
Delfina!
Yeah, so we did an amazing workshop with the massages and actually the biggest snowstorms.
Oh, now there was a snowstorm?
I know.
Snowstorms, Ebola outbreaks, National Guard interventions. Thanks to the fact that my bougie ass had a Starlink with me, I was able to log in and read all the outlandish rumors flying around the default world about what was going on at Burning Man. And there were some pretty crazy stories going around. But the reality was, most people were just having a lot of fun. Sure, I know there were probably hundreds or even thousands of people hunkered miserably in their RVs and tents, bitching nonstop about the terrible conditions and waiting for their first opportunity to leave. But I didn't see those people. The people I interacted with were having a great time, despite the fact that the highlight of the whole event, the ceremonial burning of the man the festival is named after, had to be canceled because of the weather. Normally, Saturday night's man burn is the culmination of the week and one of the biggest parties on Earth. But this year, for the first time in the history of the event, conditions were simply too soggy to safely and enjoyably burn the man. It was a bummer, but the people I interacted with weren't letting it get them down, even when the rain dragged on for a third straight day, well into Sunday afternoon. Day 75. It's still a muddy disaster. I fear I'll never get off this playa. Actually, it's not nearly as bad as it might be. It didn't rain like they said it was going to overnight, or at least not in the amount that they feared it was going to. The storm sort of passed us by, and so, yeah, the street's still a friggin' disaster. But you can see, folks are trying to roll on out of here. This despite the multitude of warnings on the BMIR radio, that's the Burning Man Information Radio Station. There is a radio station out here, that the gate is closed. They're not letting anybody out. And even better, they haven't been letting anybody in since Friday. Now, why is that better? Well, it goes back to what I was saying about this being Schadenfreude, man. There's a lot of people who just come up here for the weekend. You know, they let everybody else come up and set everything up for them. And then they just roll up at the last minute in their fancy RVs with their fancy captain's hats and their fancy white fur Amazon coats with Christmas lights inside. And then they just enjoy the fruits of everybody else's labor and leave without helping to clean up. Well, none of those folks got in this year. I know it's very salty of me to be chuckling at that, but it's just kind of funny. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. Really enjoying this. Are you enjoying yourselves?
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, I don't remember what I was saying. All I know is it's about to start raining again. So I'm just gonna bundle up. I've made myself a nice hot cup of coffee. I'm just gonna sit in my little soggy shade area and enjoy the show. Actually, I should probably go visit the porta potties because I heard the truck finally got in and cleaned them out. And there's nothing like a fresh, clean porta potty. Golly! It's raining again! Just when I thought the playa was gonna finally start drying out, I actually did see a few people riding their bikes, and a few people even so bold as to load their vehicles and try to drive to the gate, even though the gate is closed and they're just going to sit there for 20 hours. Well, it kind of started to seem like things were looking up. Things were drying out. In fact, I even heard a rumor that they might actually burn the man tonight, a day late and $1 short. But I don't know. It's pretty soggy out there. It's a pretty big bummer because when it was kind of dry earlier this morning, I was actually even considering going over to the post office. There's a post office here, and I have some postcards that I've written and addressed that I wanted to send out. That's right, they have a fully functioning post office here. You might remember that from my video last year. Last year I forgot my slide whistle, and so I had a bunch of very generous viewers send me slide whistles. Well, this year I remembered to bring my slide whistle, but you know, people sent me stuff anyway. I got a ton of really cool gifts. And golly, just thinking about when Ender the mailman and his beautiful assistant Ember, the mail lady, came by my camp, it feels like a lifetime ago. It was the before times, before the dust, before the playa lung, before the mud-pocalypse. And then check this out. Earlier in the week, I got a delivery from another mailman, Postman Brian. And Brian was so bold as to steal a kiss from me. You know, the tradition here at Burning Man, or the custom, is you hug everybody to say thank you. So he came by and he brought me some mail and I gave him a hug. But then he went a step further. And when I got back from being out and about that night, I found this postcard waiting for me, tucked into my door. Dear Wonderhussy, I stole a kiss from you without consent yesterday. I apologize. I also likely broke several postal regulations. If you wish to file a complaint, I will pick it up tonight at Sunset Pizza. I may be a repeat offender, however. How about that, Postman Brian? He did come to our pizza party, and all was forgiven. But all of that, the Sunset Pizza party, the mail deliveries, all the fun of earlier in the week, it really does seem like a totally different burn. But that's what was so great about Burning Man 2023. It was a totally different burn. It may not have been the sun-drenched, bare-breasted pervtopia of previous years, but for me, it was a refreshing reset. The crappy weather cleared out all the half-assers, influencers, and weekend warriors, sending them fleeing in their RVs, some of which became bogged down to the axles in mud in their desperate attempt to escape. But for the rest of us, those of us fortunate enough not to have to get back to work or make a flight or pick up our kids or pets, those of us crazy enough to enjoy wallowing in the muck, well, this was kind of like the best burn ever. And the creativity, ingenuity, and downright bonkers merriment I observed gave me heart. That despite the changing demographics, and the ticket hassles, and the traffic, and the preponderance of spectators, Burning Man really isn't dead at all. That original cacophonous spirit from the early days lives on, and I saw it for myself, or I should say, heard it for myself, late Friday night. In the midst of the heaviest, dreariest rain, as I was hunkered in my trailer, coughing up chunks of playa, I heard the unmistakable sound of a lone tuba, bellowing mournfully, making its way through the rainy night past my camp. The fact that some indomitable soul would slog through ankle-deep sludge in steady rain, lugging a heavy tuba, just to set the right vibe for the moment, that reaffirmed my belief in Burning Man. Whoever you are, mystery random tuba player, I salute you. Okay, it's now Monday afternoon, and conditions have improved significantly. You can see the sun is out, the sky is mostly blue, folks are riding bikes, again in various stages of dress or undress. And, well, unfortunately that means it's time to start breaking down camp. And it looks like the porta potty trucks are able to get in and out again. So that's good news. Ugh, look at all this mud built up on the sole of my boots. Can you imagine what this did to the undercarriage of all those cars and RVs that impatiently left when the playa was still wet and got buried to the axles in this muck? Anyway, the best news of all is that even though it's now Monday and they normally burn the man on Saturday, well, guess what? The weather has finally cleared up enough to where they can finally burn the man tonight. And now that all the half-assers and weekend warriors and influencers have fled, well, that means it's only us, the strongest and most dedicated freaks, that'll be left here to enjoy the party. All right, it's finally dry enough to wear my electric vagina with my estrogen ray gun. I was afraid to wear this earlier in the week when it was raining because I didn't want a short circuit. But now the playa is dry enough to where I don't have to worry about stepping in any puddles. And now I can go back to giving gentle estrogen baths to random festival goers' balls without worry. This really is the perfect night for the man burn. Beautiful skies, not too many clouds. Sun just went down behind the mountains back there. It's a balmy 65-ish right now. Gonna go down to 48 later tonight. But I've got my pink fur coat. I've got my silver bodysuit. And I think I'll be okay. Thank you, brother! He doesn't realize his balls have just been bathed in estrogen. Anyway, my friends and I are just getting ready to walk down and watch the man burn. So I'm gonna leave my microphone in camp. I don't wanna bring this with me and worry about it all night. I'm just going to be in the moment. And what a moment it was. Because the posers had already fled and the weekend warriors were unable to get in the first place, it was like a distillation of Burning Man, where the die-hard degenerates partied till dawn in a scaled-down version of Burn Night. There were all the same lights, dancing, fire spinning, and fireworks, and plenty of art cars. It was as intense as ever, but the smaller footprint brought me back to 2009, the first year I came out here. Ah, memories. Since it was already Monday night by this point, many attendees left immediately following the burn or the next morning. But since I wasn't in any particular hurry to get stuck in a traffic jam, I stayed right where I was and went to watch the temple burn on Tuesday night. The temple is kind of a sacred place for burners, where they leave mementos and messages for departed loved ones. And the temple burn is the complete opposite of the man burn. It's more a somber affair of reflection and even tears. And this year was no different. It was a beautiful burn, and as I watched the embers drifting into the night sky, I was hit with an unexpected wave of melancholy that I would soon be leaving this place that had become my home longer than I'd ever expected. But this was the longest I'd ever stayed on playa, and I was getting pretty worn out. My playa lung was still lingering, and my hair was absolutely filthy. So I figured it was time to start thinking about packing up and rolling out. Whew, okay, it's now Thursday morning. I ended up staying a full extra day after the temple burn, just to make sure I didn't get stuck in traffic. And since I got here the Thursday before the burn started, well, that means I've been here for 2 full weeks. A personal record and a very interesting and life-affirming experience. I can't lie, it wasn't always pleasant, but it ended up being one of my best burns ever. There's a saying in the Burning Man community that you don't always get the burn you want, you get the burn you need. And I guess I found that to be particularly true in my case. Guess I'll probably be back after all.